I stand here today to support my colleague in the opposition of the topic. There should be equal legal repercussions for both men and women accused of domestic violence. My partner has already shown you how men and women are not biologically equal, how equality is in no way applicable to every situation, and how we need harsher punishments for the common perpetrators of domestic violence in order to dissuade them from continuing its practice. I am here to continue the strength of our opposition by enlightening you on the legal and societal dynamics which defeat equality in reference to domestic violence. Firstly, let us look at the legal aspects of domestic violence. Are you aware, my most worthy opponents, that Dominica's other interpersonal acts, like the Child Maintenance and Divorcement Acts, cater to women? According to one of Dominica's most respected reference books on enacting the laws of divorce, entitled Ribbon on Divorce, a woman is almost always entitled to alimony, even when she is the one in the wrong. The book also says, and I quote, "When the property in question is the matrimonial home, the right of an innocent spouse, especially a woman, to remain there has to be considered." End of quote. The writer goes on to say that although a wife has no specific right over her husband to be provided with a dwelling, she still has, and I quote, "the right to cohabitation and support." End of quote. Doubtless, this is because she is generally the one with sole custody of the children or in need of physical protection. Even in the Maintenance Act of Dominica, if the magistrate thinks that she needs extra financial support, can receive a monthly fee for her own uses after issuing a warrant for the father to financially support his child or children. These laws are not unfair, ladies and gentlemen, but take into consideration the fact that women are usually the ones with sole custody of the children, and men are usually the breadwinners. And since the mother generally has a larger responsibility than the father, she deserves to be specially provided for. Why then should the law of domestic violence not take this into consideration? Especially when, according to a 2015 article on Dominica News Online, and I quote, "victims of domestic violence are overwhelmingly women." Honorable judges, men need harsher punishments. Other personal laws recognize this. So why does the Domestic Violence Act still remain ignorant? We cannot walk lopsided in the legal system. We must stand firmly on 2 feet. And in order to do so, domestic violence laws must take women into consideration, as is the fashion of its sister laws. Secondly, let us look at the domestic violence in our society. My attentive audience, we must consider the fact that in our society, it is the norm for a man to control his woman. Did any of you listen to Street Talk on Q95 when the Parliament was discussing the inclusion of a marital rape clause to the Sexual Offences Act of Dominica? My partner mentioned Honorable Rayburn Blackmore's response, but did any of you hear the number of male callers who were against such a clause, even using the Bible, the sacred Bible, as their proof that a woman belongs to a man after marriage and so has no right to refuse him in bed? Madam Moderator, the ignorant responses of the men of our society, above all of the things that I said, should convince you that men need harsher punishments where domestic violence is concerned. These scholars apparently missed the entire chapter in Ephesians of the Bible devoted to instructing men on how to love and protect their wives. This occurrence caused me to wonder how many more men in our society think like this: my wife, my children, and my girlfriend on the side are my property, and so it is my right to beat them however and whenever I think it is necessary. Too many men think like this, Madam Moderator. And it is only this way because our society has deemed it acceptable. Can't you see, my most worthy opponents, that our men need harsher legal punishments in order to discourage them from exercising their God-given right, which society has foolishly led them to think that they possess? My favorable audience, Do you remember the case of Ike versus Tina Turner, where Ike was accused of Tina's abuse? When asked if he did it, Ike said this, and I quote, "Yeah, I hit her, but I didn't hit her any more than the average guy beats his wife. The truth is, our life is no different than the guy next door's," end of quote. Here, Ike is implying that beating a woman is an everyday thing for the average man. And during the interview, he also said that person's reaction to their life was quote-unquote exaggerated. Yes, honorable judges, you and I are thinking the exact same thing. Magwesa, Kisot, sa. This is evidence that the normal man thinks it's a normal thing to normally beat his wife for the sake of normality, as he has been cultured by his society to believe that he must take firm control of a woman. It is both sickening and terrifying to listen to young men refer to girls as my thing and that, as in their eyes, a woman is no more than an object for their punching and pleasure. But what is even more horrifying is knowing that in Dominica's small society, such utter nonsense is seen as a norm. We need to take a stance as a people and scorn domestic violence. And as men are the main domestic violence offenders, a fact which my colleague has already proven to you, a harsher legislation needs to be placed upon their heads like a bounty. We need to call these male offenders out, wrap them up in our courtrooms, and knock them down with what we know to be true justice, harsher repercussions. I thank you.